There are many Copic coloring experts that can show you how to blend lots of colors together to create beautiful shading. But Copic markers are fun to use no matter what your skill level. They provide bright, streak-free color and can work well with any line art stamp image, just using the basic coloring skills you learned back in grade school. While I don't claim to be a Copic expert, I'd like to show you a few simple techniques of shading these apples and distressing the wooden bucket they're sitting in. Let me show you the tools and products you'll need to do this technique. First, you're going to need a line art image, and I've chosen the apples in the wooden bucket image from the new Autumn Splendor Stamp TV kit. Then you're going to need some good quality cardstock. I'm using the Gina K Designs Pure Luxury Ivory cardstock in the heavy base weight. Now this cardstock will bleed through to the other side, so you do want to make sure that your work surface is protected underneath. Then you're going to need a good ink pad. My preference is the Memento Tuxedo Black ink whenever I'm using Copic markers. And the reason why I like it the best is because it doesn't require any heat setting, and so pretty much you just stamp it and it's ready to go. You'll never get any smearing. Then you're going to need some Copic markers, and you can see here I've chosen a few shades that I'm going to use in my project, and the style marker that I'm using the Copic Original markers. These are the square ones. Now, you can use sketch markers or chow markers too. It doesn't really matter. But the reason why I'm using these is because I happen to really be hooked on that real fine bullet point, especially for smaller images and small detail coloring. So I've switched over most of my Copic markers to the originals because I really like them. To start out, I'm going to ink up my image here with some Tuxedo Black Memento ink. And then I'm going to stamp it onto my ivory cardstock. I usually wait for about a minute for that to dry, just enough time to get a piece of protective cardstock or something underneath my workspace and to pull out my first couple of markers that I'm going to use. The first markers I'm going to use to color the apples are Y19, which is Napoli Yellow, YR04, which is Chrome Orange, and of course I need a red, so I'm using R27 Cadmium Red. My first step is to color my apples all using the yellow marker, because that's going to be my highlight color. So I'm just going to color them all in. And you can see just with the yellow you get beautiful streak-free color, and you can see that I'm not getting any smearing of that ink at all. And usually if you're going to get smearing, you're definitely going to see it when you start using yellow, but I'm not getting any at all. Color this one. Now I'm also going to color my leaves yellow, because I'm going to add some greens in there, but I want them to look a little bit more autumny. And of course in the autumn you see lots of shades of yellows and sage greens and browns, so definitely going to add some yellow into those leaves. Okay, now my next color I'm going to use is the Chrome Orange, and again I'm going to start by just coloring the perimeter of the apple like that. See, I'm just outlining it a little bit. So you can still see that there's plenty of yellow in the centers peeking through. Okay. Now, I'm going to go back to my yellow marker, and I'm going to start in the center and blend some of that orange together in there. Starting in the center and blending around. And what this does is this takes away the defined line between the yellow and the orange. And it will not ruin your yellow marker at all. So now, because I've picked up a little bit of orange on the tip, I'm just going to color over the line between them, and that will kind of blend things together. And you can see with the Gina K Designs Pure Luxury cardstock, it just blends so quickly. the bigger ones, you have a little bit more play. See how the defined line is kind of disappearing now. It's just looking as though it's going from a very bright yellow to an orange. And now my last step for my apples is just to add a little touch of red right around the perimeter where I did the orange, but not even quite as much, just a skinny little line. Now add a little bit more on the bigger ones. And now, once again, I'm going to go back with my orange marker. You can see how I'm bringing yellow into orange using yellow, and now I'm going to bring the orange into red using the orange. So I'm going to color right on the line between them, just working that color in. Now they're all starting to look like red apples that have a nice little highlight of golden, yellow, orangey color in there. And you can see how pretty that's coming out. And don't be afraid to go back and add a little bit more. For example, on this one, I'd like to see a little bit of red underneath there. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of red and add a little touch of it. And then go back with my orange again and blend it up. And if you want to blend some of that yellow in, grab the yellow again and just blend that all together. Isn't that pretty? Back to the orange, and I'll finish my last one here. It's such a nice color blend with those. Okay, so now I'm going to add some of the leaf color. And the colors that I've chosen are the YG95, which is pale olive, and the YG97, which is Spanish olive. And I'm going to start by adding a little bit of the lighter green just down the one side of the leaf. And it doesn't matter which side. And now I'm going to go back and I'm going to use my yellow again. Now you can rub off the yellow a little bit on your scratch paper just to make sure there isn't any orange left in there. And then starting on the yellow, just grab some of that green and blend it in. So you're kind of coloring mostly on the line between the colors, and that little circular motion just kind of grabs the color from one side and blends it into the other. And now I want to add a little bit darker green, so I'm going to use my Spanish olive and just a little bit on the other side with that. And again, I'm going to use my yellow to blend that in because I don't want that to all turn too green. So right on the line between them.